Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Reid's Renegade Rebooted podcast. This is our episode 2 of the second season, and today we're going to be talking about
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Our retrospective, our review, our opinions, and everything Spider-Man. So stay tuned. So for today's guest, we have...
Hello, I'm Justus.
I'm Seb.
And I'm Will.
So guys, what were your main opinions on Spider-Man No Way Home? Starting with Justus.
Well, I would say that it was a nice film for movie effects, but it was a bit long. So like in the middle, you started to get a bit tired of the movie, and I did not get the plot anymore that much as I got it at the beginning. So it got a bit worse to the ending, but the ending was nice, but it was also a bit sad. So. The main opinion is a nice film, but a bit boring.
Cool. Okay, cool. So moving on to Seb, what do you think about the movie?
It was a nice movie. It was a really nice movie, but how Justus said, it was a bit stretched out. So I think it was around 3 hours, and you probably could have put it in 2 hours.
So you thought it was a bit long?
Yeah.
The pacing was a bit slow.
Yeah.
In the middle, especially, we think. Yeah.
Yeah, so similarly to Justus and Sebastian, I think that they dragged it out. So I think that the trailer gave you a really different kind of idea about what was actually going to happen in the film, because I know I watched the trailer a good few times because I really like Spider-Man, and then I kind of developed these ideas about what was going to happen. I guess it was a great movie, but I think I was a little bit let down almost because of these high standards I'd set myself from the trailer.
Yeah.
To look really class, and then but it is good, and it is sad at the end, but I think it's going to lead up to maybe another kind of Marvel movie.
Yeah, especially with the second Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, the Multiverse of Madness.
And then the 2 more Spider-Man movies coming up.
Yeah, I think they're thinking of making a whole bunch more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So that's interesting.
And maybe even the other Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, we'll mention that in the spoiler section
Later on.
So yeah, main opinions, guys. So a bit long. How was the action though? What'd you think of that?
Yeah.
It was pretty nice, and to be fair, you have to say that they had many good ideas for the plot. You have to watch it to see it.
So all the action was just really great.
I think
CGI wise.
Well, as Doctor Strange says, there's people from all the different universes coming. So you get to see Dr. Octopus, you get to see Green Goblin, Sandman, Electro, and the Lizard as well. And I think that's pretty interesting how for the kind of finale or the third movie, how they kind of got the idea to bring all these villains back together again. And
it was super well executed, I think, from that point. But as you say, with tons of these different characters, they had to spend a lot of time on them.
Yeah.
And that meant that
they had to stretch out the movie, of course.
So out of 10, Justus, what would you give the movie?
Maybe I would say it's a 6 to 7 out of 10, because I really have to say that the special effects are very, very good, and it's just like a normal Marvel film. And if you're looking for what you get normally in Marvel films, it's just good. But if I would recommend it to other people, then I'm not sure. Maybe for my mom or so, I think she would maybe be a bit bored. But if you're a fan of Marvel, you definitely have to see the movie. Yeah, I think it's a nice movie.
What do you think the age range would you recommend to?
Probably under 40. And
under 40.
People above the age of 40 maybe are not in the interest group anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So would it get the Justus seal of approval?
Yes. Yeah. It does.
Nice. Sebastian, what would you give it out of 10?
Probably 7 to 8, because the movie in itself was quite good. The special effects, I used to say, were good. The plot was good, and all the characters were quite nice. But if you have seen the trailer before, it was quite disappointing.
Yeah, it almost spoiled most of the movie as well.
Yeah.
I think, I'd give it a bit of a higher score than Sebastian. Yes, so I'd give it about 8.5. I think it's on par in my opinion with Homecoming and the other one. What's it called?
Far From
Far
Home.
From Home. That was it. Yeah. But I think it's a solid 8.5, and I would recommend it to anyone because it's like, so, I'm pretty sure it's the 12th biggest film of all time now, and it absolutely skyrocketed as soon as it came out.
Yeah, hit
So-
$1 billion easily. Yeah.
So I'd recommend it to anyone that's interested in Marvel, and like Justus said, like people above the age of 40, they're probably not that interested in Spider-Man.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But still, you have to be like at a certain age to at least understand it because of all the villains that were in it.
Yeah, and you need to have watched
Yeah,
the
you
other movies as well.
Yeah, so people that maybe have only seen the Homecoming and Far From Home just because like Tom Holland, I think they should probably see the previous ones first to understand the villains in it.
And understand the story and what really happened, because obviously they're not from Tom Holland's universe and they're from the other Spider-Man universe. So getting that more information would just help benefit. Yeah.
So would it get the Will seal of approval?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What about the Sebastian seal of approval? Nice. Well, thank you very much, Justus and Sebastian, for coming on. We're gonna delve into more spoilers in the spoiler section.
Guys.
So thanks for coming.
It was a pleasure to be here.
No, thank you very much.
Welcome back, guys. We're moving on to some spoilers right now. So if you haven't seen the movie and would really want to see the movie, come off now and go watch it yourself. It's a great movie. Let's get to it.
We think you'd have a lot of fun with the movie, so stay tuned if you're ready for some spoilers. And we're back. So to talk about some spoilers, we've got Will back on.
Hi guys.
And so first of all, let's talk about all the villains that were in this movie. So as Josh said before, they brought back a lot of old villains from previous Spider-Man movies. For example, the Lizard. What do you think about that, Will?
I'm a really big fan of both the Amazing Spider-Man films, like despite most people's kind of hate for them. And I thought Lizard was a pretty cool character back in Amazing Spider-Man 1. So I was a little bit disappointed that he was really kind of sidelined and insignificant, I think, in the movie. But I guess there's not really a huge amount they can do with him, considering there's 5 villains in the film, and they can't kind of give a huge amount of development for each one. So it's fair enough, I guess, because he's one of the least important ones. But I thought he was pretty mediocre, to be honest.
They didn't really focus on him a lot, and I don't think we saw the real actor back. We saw him in one scene, but I read somewhere that they used a deleted scene from Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Oh, really?
And just redid the visual effects on it.
Yeah, so the Lizard, pretty meh. Not much screen time. Kind of just kept him in the back of the van pretty much the whole time, or just in the jail cell, the magic jail cell. So just kind of also got violated because they didn't see him as one of the doctors, because they're all scientists, aren't they?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So moving on to Sandman from Spider-Man 3.
So I thought in Spider-Man 3, I thought Sandman was actually a really compelling character because of his kind of origin story, where at the start you think he's just a villain, like a cold-blooded killer. Then you find out about his daughter, and it makes him more of a deep character. So I think with his first encounter with Spider-Man in No Way Home, I think it was a little bit disappointing how easily he kind of turned back into a villain. Like, he didn't kind of have any sympathy with this new Spider-Man, and I thought that was a bit disappointing because I think it kind of contrasted his actual character, where when you kind of see into him, he's actually quite loving.
When we first see him helping Spider-Man fight Electro, that was from the end of the movie he must have been transported from, when he turns good at the end of Spider-Man 3, and then he helps Spider-Man, and they kind of continued that, and as you said, he turns evil again, which was a bit disappointing to see all that character development kind of be ruined. But it did kind of make sense. He didn't want to die, he wanted to get back to his daughter.
Yeah, it does make sense.
We've got Green Goblin, of course, the star of the show, villain-wise.
Alright, so we're opened up in the movie. Some grenades are rolling on the ground. We hear some laughing in the background. Ooh, entrance, the Green Goblin. Wow.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Willem Dafoe's performance was really good.
I think he almost stole the movie with his performance. It was, a lot of people have compared him to Joker, and I think that's really valid. Like, he really gives off a psychotic feel.
Yeah, like split personality sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very crazy, but also kind of innocent, but dark innocence. So he has a lot of screen time throughout the whole movie, which I really like because he's one of my favorite villains. we all think he's like this really nice changed guy, but secretly he's just evil the whole time, and it was just his plan, and then obviously takes it over.
And finally we had Dr. Octopus, which I thought was really well executed. Great evolution of his character, plot-wise, when he sees Peter Parker.
Yeah, crazy fight scene, really cool.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
quite funny as well.
Oh yeah.
How he got the nanobots on his tentacles. That was pretty cool.
I thought he was gonna like be upgraded for a second, and he was just gonna be this more crazy villain. But I guess Spider-Man just pretty much hacked his arms and
Yeah.
yeah.
And then just took him into the prison again. So that was cool. So Jamie Foxx's Electro was pretty well done as well. When we first see him, he's got this new look and this new appearance when he's no longer blue, and he's in like a cool kind of tactical jacket and stuff. And he's using yellow lightning this time compared to his blue lightning in Amazing Spider-Man 2. What did you think of Electro, Will?
Well, personally, you guys aren't gonna like me for this, but I didn't actually enjoy his appearance as much as I would have hoped. I thought he was a great character in Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, good. I thought he was great, and I really liked the blue look.
You like
But-
the blue look?
yeah, I
yellow.
did. I did
Okay,
like the blue
okay.
look. But I thought a thing that I do think they did well for him is how he was kind of still power hungry and looking for anything to kind of increase his power, like
Yeah,
with
especially
the,
with the arc reactor.
yeah. I think that really mirrored how he acted in Amazing Spider-Man.
He still wanted that power because, of course, he was a nobody back in the Andrew Garfield universe. So he just still wanted more power to become, more influential and more infamous. And I guess he did, because he did eventually get his hands on the arc reactor, which made him so powerful. And then I think when he's first introduced, he looks a bit like his comic appearance, doesn't he, Josh?
Oh yeah, definitely. Not the stupid blue appearance.
Yeah, so we'll put on screen right now the blue appearance versus the comic accurate one, and why don't you guys let us know in the comments below what you think about it.
We know the blue one's better though.
You know?
Yeah.
Get on, Will. Get on.
And another kind of villain you could say was Venom, which appeared in
Oh yeah.
Venom Let There Be Carnage. There was of course the post-credit scene where
He's lying down on his bed.
he's
just
chilling, he's
watching
maybe
some
on
TV.
he's on a vacation, a holiday, he's watching some TV, and then
Oh wait, everything starts changing.
Yeah,
the room
suddenly-
rumbles.
gets teleported.
Different world now.
Yeah, and so then a post-credit scene for, I think it's the first one, for No Way Home, we get to see
Yeah.
Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy in a bar, and he's asking someone to explain all this stuff again about the Avengers and all this stuff and what's happened, and he's just so confused. And then he's like, "Wait, I wasn't here for that long," and then he just leaves again.
And I think the most important part of that though is how some of his Venom symbiote was left behind in
yeah.
Tom Holland's universe. So I think, judging from what you said earlier, where there might be a couple more movies with Tom Holland, I think this Venom symbiote is going to play a big part in that, and we'll maybe get like a kind of revamped Tobey Maguire as Venom for Tom Holland.
I'm gonna say this right now. I think the new Venom, if you guys know your symbiote terminology and whatnot, I think it might be Toxin, and then we're gonna have like a collab with some of the Spider-Mans versing him or something like that.
That would be
That'd
cool.
be really interesting.
Because there have been rumors that some Spider-Man are reported to return, but we'll get onto that when we talk about all the different Spider-Man and their role in the movie.
And speaking with Venom, because I watched the Let There Be Carnage just before the new Spider-Man movie, right? And I honestly thought I was gonna see a lot more Venom, and he was gonna be maybe part of the Spider-Man side because he's a good guy, and he was just gonna help balance out the teams a bit. But no, he was just in a bar trying to figure out what happened. Like, oh, I'm actually in a different universe. He finally concludes towards the end when we have like these old fight scenes and people getting cured and deaths and people dying and emotions happening, and then they figure it
felt a
out
bit
straight in the
useless.
beginning. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just
felt
kind of
useless.
there.
Maybe they're setting up a potentially Amazing Spider-Man 3.
That'd be very interesting.
Venom versus Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. There have been rumors flying around the internet about that. They could be true, who knows? We'll have to wait.
I like that. If I had to pick any Spider-Man to verse the new Venom symbiote that's gonna come up, it would be Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He has a bit more of like an adult kind of
Sense to him.
Sense to him.
It's less childish. It
He's more
seems.
mature.
Tom's a bit
Yeah.
childish. Toby, he has his good run with his villains. We need something to spice it up.
And Toby's his movies were a bit zany.
And they're like jam packed, filled with memes and stuff.
Yeah.
Born from that kind of the weak dialogue similar to the prequels.
For Star Wars.
Up next, let's talk about the different heroes and good guys in Spider-Man No Way Home. First up, we have Peter and Doctor Strange. We had Ned as well. So what do you think about especially the conflict between Peter and Doctor Strange?
Honestly, they have a great relationship, right? But they have this conflict that happens in a bit later on once the spell gets ruined, and it's almost like the first near the beginning of the movie, Doctor Strange was like the villain so far.
Yeah. It definitely felt like that when Peter really wanted to try and cure the villains and then send them back to their own dimensions, whereas Doctor Strange just wanted to send them back to be killed.
I think this is also a question of like morality. How Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he sees the smaller picture. Like he wants to save the immediate lives around him. Whereas I think Doctor Strange, he is kind of willing to take the harsh kind of option, which will result in a few of these people dying, but it'll on the whole
save their dimension.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a little less open-minded to how they can kind of resolve it though.
So what do you think are going to be the consequences of this conflict? Like, Doctor Strange, of course, he's opened the multiverse of madness. Some bad stuff is going to happen because of that in his second movie. A trailer came out, we've got Mordo's coming back. We'll definitely do a multiverse of madness podcast on that, review, when that comes out.
I think that by giving this as an option, the Marvel people can really mix and match different heroes and villains, and I guess that could be a new strategy for them. Because like we said in the Ghostbusters, they in the podcast, if you watched that, you should watch that definitely. We talked about how they brought back old characters, brought them into the new one because they knew it was going to work, and it did really well. So by implementing this in the Marvel universe, they could bring back they could have different variations of different Spider-Man, have like whole new stories.
Exactly, especially with the Loki series. If you've seen that on Disney Plus, it introduced a concept called variants, in which you've got different variants of Loki, and there's multiple different dimensions in which variants of different people exist, and they get pruned and they get destroyed to keep this one kind of timeline. But if you've seen Loki, spoiler alert, basically Sylvie and Loki kill Kang, and the multiverse kind of branches off of the sacred timeline, which is going to open a lot of different doors for Marvel. And as you say, Josh, X-Men could come in, Fantastic Four could come in.
Yeah, they've got so many possibilities, because if it is like loads of multiverses, there's literally endless possibilities, and I think they could bring back actors from previously acted things. For example, you have Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
Yeah, true.
And we have
Blade.
Yeah, and now we have Charlie Cox as Daredevil. So there's loads of kind of potential things like that where they old versus new actor.
Ghost Rider, you could have Nicolas Cage come back and do
that'd
a
be
movie.
great.
Especially, I think that would be really cool if we get an Illuminati TV series based off the comics on Disney Plus. Have Doctor Strange, Blade, the Black Knight from the Eternals. That would be really cool. And maybe Moon Knight as well.
I think this transitions nicely to Daredevil's cameo. That was pretty sick.
That was really cool.
That was awesome. I'm a massive Daredevil fan. I'm on season 3, episode 11 out of season 3, episode 13. So, and seeing this, I was in the cinema. Sadly, I'd seen a spoiler for it beforehand because
that's what you
because
like to
Instagram.
Because you like to no, because of Instagram. Because you like to search it.
I didn't search up, guys, but yeah, it was amazing to see.
He didn't watch it until like January 12th, so it's kind of his fault.
Yeah, so I was sitting next to one of my friends, and we just stared at each other like with massive eyes, because it was really great seeing such like a massively loved character that not many people know about, because the Netflix Marvel shows are kind of secluded a bit from the mainstream Marvel things.
Yeah, because those TV shows aren't really mentioned by the MCU, but vice versa, they mention the MCU. For example, I think in Daredevil they talk about the Battle of New York and the effect it has on Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Whereas Daredevil, Luke Cage, the Defenders are hardly mentioned at all. I don't think they are actually.
They're not mentioned.
Which begs the question, now Daredevil is
Back,
confirmed to be in the MCU, what's going to happen?
Yeah, they might start to get people from Punisher, from the Defenders, they might join in too.
Yeah, for example, I think we've got a She-Hulk TV series coming in, and she is a lawyer, and Kevin Feige said when they first announced it, there might be all sorts of heroes who pop up. So who knows what could be in that series, possibly Matt Murdock helping She-Hulk with some court cases. Maybe Moon Knight as well, that would be really cool because they're both kind of dark, gritty characters. Or why not just Spider-Man 4? Daredevil and Spider-Man teaming up.
Yeah, I could imagine Daredevil almost being like a mentor to Spider-Man because he's kind of got more experience and he's a character that they could definitely have some sort of chemistry like that.
And they have like a similar like Spidey sense in a way.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So speaking of Spidey sense, the one instance that was used in was the big plot twist in the middle of the film with Green Goblin turning like evil.
Oh yeah.
Or the revelation that he's still evil.
There was this 5-minute like tension build up where Tom Holland's just in the room, just kind of just looking seriously, just there's like this feeling kind of growing in him, and then boom, something bad happens and Green Goblin comes and
yeah, it's revealed that he's still evil, and this whole kind of charade that he was good is fake, and he was doing it on purpose to try and make all the villains evil again, which did work in the end because then of course Electro and Lizard and Sandman, they all turned evil with Green Goblin, and I think Doc Ock leaves. He just like gets out of there.
Yeah, because he was cured, so he just kind of left. And and after that, once all the Spider-Man started coming together, we had this really like kind of funny or cool scene where they're all in a lab, right?
Yeah.
And they're just like brewing up their own cures for their own villains.
That was really touching, especially when Ned asks Peter, and then they all like point at each other. Which Peter is like Parker? And then it's like still the same thing. And they do the pointing meme. We'll put that on screen. The pointing meme from the Spider-Man TV show in the 90s. That was a really good callback. So speaking of that scene in which Green Goblin turns evil, we have a really sick fight scene between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, in which they're tossing around like each other, they're throwing walls at each other.
In the building, the whole building's pretty much just getting destroyed left, right, and center with them just fighting. Spider-Man gets thrown down to the bottom pretty much.
And you know what it reminded me of, that fight scene? Spider-Man PS4 game. And then I actually saw in an interview that Tom Holland said, oh yeah, we used the game as inspiration because there was one move where he webs the floor and then picks it up and throws it back down.
Oh, alright. Yeah.
And I think you've played the game as well.
Yeah, well, not really. My little brother has, but
I think it was great, that fight scene between Green Goblin and Spider-Man, because you really kind of got to see an extent of Green Goblin's power, because before maybe it wasn't so obvious in Spider-Man 1 about how strong he really is, but you see his kind of superhuman strength and stuff. And also when I thought my favourite part of this fight scene was when Spider-Man was punching Green Goblin repeatedly in the face and he was just laughing.
Yeah.
And this really gave me a throwback to Dark Knight, where Batman's punching the Joker and he's just laughing. Like, I think it was really kind of almost like a mirror with like the superhero punching like some psychotic villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was almost it was quite vicious and quite uncharacteristic.
Yeah, you would never see the kind friendly neighborhood Tom Holland to be for punching some.
Yeah, like viciously, punching someone to death. It's not really the Spider-Man way, I would say. And at the end of this scene, Aunt May, she's trying to escape the apartment. And what does she say, Will?
with great power comes great responsibility, and you know what happens after the relative says that.
After you say that, your fate is sealed.
After you're connected with Spider-Man and you say that to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You're just bound to die. So, unfortunately,
Big twist.
Green Goblin throws his pumpkin bombs and...
Pumpkin bombs. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're called pumpkin bombs. Yeah.
Stupid.
In the comics, because Green Goblin's kind of like a Halloween sort of character.
Alright.
So pumpkin bombs, and they're orange as well. Yeah. So yeah, he throws them and May dies.
She doesn't die straight away. It is almost slow.
Yeah, there's enough time to give a bit of motivation to Peter Parker, make him a bit angry, and she says something about like doing the right thing, maybe something like that.
Yeah, she gets stabbed, and you think, oh no, she hasn't died straight away. You think she's gonna get help and actually survive, but no, she really fully dies.
Yeah.
She fully dies.
Which makes me sad for Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
Happy arrives in his car.
And from the scene in the trailer where he looks really depressed, that's when he's in the car with all the lasers pointed, and that's from that scene when he kind of sees Aunt May lying in Spider-Man's arms.
Yeah, which was really sad for Happy's character, because literally everyone he's gotten attached to has either died or
just left him.
Yeah, I think it was almost somewhat necessary, as it kind of further made a bond between all the Spider-Men, because they've all kind of had this sense of loss with Tobey Maguire with his uncle dying, and then Andrew Garfield with his uncle,
with Gwen.
Gwen, and his uncle. Yeah.
And his dad almost, but then he comes in the credit scene.
That was a great end credit scene.
So one of the main points in Spider-Man No Way Home, which wasn't really revealed in the trailer, but we all kind of knew was going to happen, was all the Spider-Man that came in to assist Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So who did we get? Tobey Maguire, right?
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, and the people that were kind of saw the earliest release of the trailer, you might have noticed that the Lizard, when they were all jumping at Spider-Man, he got his head kicked out by nothing, because they kind of CGI'd the other Spider-Man out. So then some people kind of made theories about that and stuff.
And there had been rumors for almost a year before. I remember reading that, they're going to do a multiverse film, they're going to bring all the villains back, they're going to bring the Spider-Man back. And then of course there was that leaked image in which Andrew Garfield was on this kind of scaffolding, and he was chatting. There was a small 2-second video.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, it's doctored, they've done that on purpose, it's fake. And then what do you know? That's Statue of Liberty set. Yeah. So Tobey Maguire, I thought his entrance was pretty cool when Ned tries the magic with the sling ring that he steals from Doctor Strange.
His entrance, he's just some homeless man that just comes in.
Yeah, and he's like, that's what Spider-Man.
Like, what?
Who is this guy?
I thought he was this 40-year-old man, right?
Yeah, I thought this was very touching though, kind of how he stepped through the portal and waved and so on. I think this was perfectly representing Peter Parker, played by Tobey Maguire.
Just like a lovable guy who's trying to do the best he can for his neighborhood.
He's just this really experienced Spider-Man, so you don't expect him to dress up so.
And he kind of gave off similar vibes from Peter B. Parker from the Into the Spideyverse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As the dad.
The kind of more experienced.
The mentor.
Peter Parker. Yeah, the mentor. Which kind of gave me a bad feeling when Peter was looking at. They have that confrontation when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is about to kill Green Goblin with his glider, and then Tobey Maguire comes in and stops him and just looks at him
that was stressful.
That was a powerful scene, but also super stressful afterwards, because
we should get to that in a minute.
We'll talk about it later.
Talk about that in a minute when we talk about the final scene. But Andrew Garfield, let's talk about him.
Oh my gosh,
Will.
I absolutely love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He's definitely my favourite. I think he's just a lot more gritty than the other ones, and I think Andrew Garfield, I think he's an amazing actor. So when they opened the portal and you saw him standing in the alleyway, I just screamed immediately, in the cinema, because I also knew that all the Spider-Men were coming, because I saw a spoiler. But even then, I recognised the suit immediately with the bigger eyes, and I just screamed in it. and then he jumped through, and the demonstration of his powers for Ned's grandma, I think she is. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
and
Nana, yeah.
I thought that was quite amusing and like quite representative of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man as well. How he's slightly comedic, but also really almost dark.
Yeah, he does have a darker side to him, which he talked about with Tom Holland, how after he lost Gwen Stacy in Amazing Spider-Man 2, of course he had like I think 6 months afterwards in which he stopped being Spider-Man and things in New York turned bad. And then you had that fight scene with Rhino in which he finally came back again.
The robot of Rhino.
Those slow motions were awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool, especially when it picks up the drain cover
And then
throws
swings it around.
at Rhino.
Yeah.
That's a really good ending to Spider-Man 2. It's a shame we didn't get a third one,
Yeah, it is a shame.
picking up after the death of Gwen Stacy, because he briefly talked about how he became more angry
And like wanted to
enraged.
hurt people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started maybe killing people.
He could have had like this like Hawkeye event where, you know, once his family gets like blipped and he just starts
Because
killing
you're
all the bad
angry,
guys.
Yeah.
He could have had something like that in the third one, and then maybe something that just changes him, and then we also get implemented with like a new villain or something like that.
I think they're definitely gonna do something else with Andrew Garfield, like Jamie mentioned earlier, because I've seen a lot of people saying that Andrew Garfield really kind of took the show and was just phenomenal, and
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, Marvel won't pass up on that.
So I think they're aware that a lot of the fans dislike the two Amazing Spider-Man films, and I think they'd be willing to make a third one, which I reckon would be amazing.
Oh, that's definitely gonna explode.
Yeah.
Or if they don't put it under the Amazing Spider-Man banner, they can make a third Venom and have it be a Venom Spider-Man movie.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Because I think Sony is trying to do their own thing over at Sony Studios, in which they're doing Morbius the Vampire,
Oh yeah.
which has Spider-Man in it, because there was a
There was a picture of
there was
Spider-Man in the
graffiti,
background, yeah.
and J. Jonah Jameson, like their own version of J. Jonah Jameson is in like that
Own
universe.
version, like a variant of him.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
That's weird.
So yeah,
But
was
it's
bad
got-
of a haircut.
Yeah.
I trust my haircut.
I chose my barber.
So that they can do their own little universe, and it could cross over with the MCU every once in a while, because we know, of course, there was a bit of conflict between Disney and Sony about the rights for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they can definitely play the card how they didn't fully seal the spell, and it's like there's still some cracks, so maybe like
Oh, yeah.
they're also
Oh yeah, with like Kraven the
they
Hunter
can
and all
definitely
that.
they can play that
Oh
card
yeah.
easily.
That'd be cool.
So one surprise was eventually when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man captures and cures Electro, and then he reveals his face to Electro. He goes, "Man, I thought you'd be black." And then there's this cool interaction, and then he said, "Oh, I always thought you'd be like a black Spider-Man," and that immediately made me think Miles Morales.
Oh my god! I can't believe we all said that at the same time. Miles Morales, yeah, that'd be
so-
sick to see him.
Maybe even live action.
Yeah, live action Miles Morales. Probably in this new Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, they could have him fight the new Venom symbiote. Introduce a new Spider-Man, maybe.
They could do, yeah. I think, and then Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, he said that I'm sure in another universe there is a black Spider-Man, which was a definite nod to Miles Morales, and
Definitely, yeah.
Kind of-
with the Ultimate Spider-Man
Yeah.
universe, yeah.
Linking back to that,
Peter B. Parker?
Yeah, that. We could probably say how maybe he might show the ropes of this new black Spider-Man, just like in the Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, but like live action version.
that'd be cool, yeah.
That'd be pretty sick. And also, if we could go back to that scene where we're in Ned's house, let's talk about Ned's magic powers for a second.
Like,
what?
oh my god, what?
Where'd this come
It's out
from?
of nowhere,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Puts
so
on
like,
the ring.
Is Doctor Strange gonna have another mentee? Is he gonna be teaching Ned?
Or is he gonna
Padawan?
even
Oh
get
my
kicked
God.
out of kind of duty, and then Ned's gonna become the Sorcerer Supreme? Because Doctor Strange had a lot of trouble when he started off with trying to work his portals and magic, and Ned just nailed it first try.
Yeah, true. So he's really talented. Is he gonna be maybe Sorcerer Supreme with like Wong? Because we don't know what's gonna happen in the second Doctor Strange. Is he gonna be maybe stuck in the multiverse?
There's a Wong movie, isn't there, coming?
I don't think there's a Wong movie. There might be.
dang.
There's probably gonna be like a Sorcerer series at some point, like capturing elemental spiritual stuff. That would be cool. But yeah, the final scene. Let's talk about like the final big battle, the climax of the movie, when all the Spider-Man come together,
Or the Statue of
Yeah.
and the villains come, and they have this massive fight to try and cure all the villains.
Yeah, so just before all the villains kind of came in, there was the big fight. There was like a lot of vocal interaction between all.
And banter.
Yeah, and banter between the Spider-Man, and I think there were some obvious references to the previous Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire complaining about his sore back.
Yeah,
I thought that was very amusing.
my back.
My back.
Yeah, I thought that was very
And
amusing.
then Andrew Garfield helping him out, and they're talking
Yeah.
about how, I always wanted like a brother or like another Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was cool when Tom Holland mentions the Avengers. And
Yeah,
they're
and they were like, "Are
"What
you
is
in a
that?
band?"
Are you in a band? Because that kind of reminded me of Star-Lord. It's like, is Kevin Bacon in it?
Oh, Kevin Bacon in the
In
Avengers,
the
yeah.
Avengers? It's like Mantis saying that. That was funny. And then Thor's like, he might be. I haven't been there for a while.
Yeah.
That was cool. So let's talk about Andrew Garfield. And so during this final battle, MJ and Ned get stuck in kind of the fight, in the middle of the fight.
Yeah,
They're vulnerable,
unintentionally, yeah.
unintentionally, accidentally. They can't close the portal, which is really bad for MJ because I think, is it Green Goblin?
Or maybe the lizard.
It's the lizard. It's the lizard
yeah.
that
It's
came
the lizard,
through.
yeah.
And he grabbed them.
Uh-huh.
Was it which Spider-Man went into the portal? Was it Tom Holland?
It was Tom Holland, yeah, he went to try and like save them. But I think, and this led directly to my favourite scene in the whole movie. MJ falls off the edge, and this kind of teased that in the trailer where she's falling and it's all slow motion.
We see,
And
like,
then
the
Tom
Spider-Man
Holland
hand.
like jumps down and their things are just about to touch and it kind of cuts to in the trailer. But in the movie, as you know, he gets hit out the way by like some flying debris. And then she's falling and you can like see the kind of...
You're like, oh my god, who's gonna save her now? Like,
And then immediately your mind goes to Andrew Garfield because of what happened to Gwen Stacy. This is such a good scene because as he's falling, you kind of almost like his character arc closed with this kind of sense of loss almost because he manages to catch MJ and save her, which he couldn't do for Gwen, and it's really touching because then he's crying. He asks MJ if she's alright, and she says, "Yeah, are you?" And he's crying because obviously it makes him think of what he couldn't do for Gwen, and I thought that was amazing. I also cried in that scene.
Well, yeah, it was also one of my favorite scenes, how it just cuts to his face, and when it cuts to his face, the audience pretty much just visualizes that scene again when Gwen Stacy just like is falling.
Yeah, and when she gets snapped on the ground.
Okay, well, yeah, that happened too. Yeah.
yeah, it was a bit dark that scene. Yeah.
That was, yeah.
But his
very loud
redemption,
crack.
just kind of got solved afterwards, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he definitely redeemed himself, and he's definitely happy about that because he could save her this time. So moving on to action, guys, what was the best action scene in the movie? Starting with Josh.
Beginning when Tom Holland's on the bridge, he has his nanotech suit on, and he's trying to talk to this college university lady, and then boom, explosions happen. Doc Ock comes in, Green Goblin comes in, two really favorite villains, and we have the massive fight scene. I really like that. Comparing it towards the end battle, I'd say they're both pretty much balanced, even though one of them is a bit longer, but I still think they're
it was
both
cool.
pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Doc Ock was sick.
Yeah.
And also the side quest where Tom Holland needs to use his magical device to zap all these villains into the cages. I feel like when he's on the quest to find all these villains, I feel like it could have been a bit longer of a battle.
Yeah,
They
I
could have developed the
agree.
battle a bit more.
It felt a bit anticlimactic how easy it was to just
zap them.
zap, and then they're back into the.
Yeah,
thing.
I agree because with my after seeing the trailer and kind of hearing about how great it was, I assumed that like the whole movie was gonna be jam-packed filled with action, with like him having to get each of these villains and fight them and stuff, and then the other ones coming in, the whole movie being a battle. Whereas a lot of it was storyline and kind of talking and stuff, which wasn't a bad thing. But
Which kind of leads on to Justus and Sebastian's point earlier about the movie being a bit too long. They're right, it could have been cut down a bit. They would have made to have sacrificed maybe one villain. I don't know, who would you like to have cut out? Maybe Sandman and Lizard, maybe?
how did they capture Lizard again?
They already had him captured.
Oh yeah, because Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange had already
Oh.
captured.
He was
him.
in the sewers and he was.
Well, I
like,
guess
zapped.
if they
So,
had that as well, it would have
Lizard
been even
wasn't
longer.
really a main part of the movie.
No, not
He
at
could
all.
have been cut out and it would have been the same.
Yeah.
However, I think my favorite action scene was definitely Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man. It was something that was just so cool when Doctor Strange like gets Spider-Man into the mirror dimension and they have this awesome duel on the train, and then he's basically controlling every facet of it. And then something that was underwhelming was he just flat out loses. He gets webbed up in the mirror dimension, which he's a sorcerer supreme of.
Yeah,
he's
it
meant
makes
to
no
be-
sense. I was
He
super surprised.
he
too.
literally fought against Thanos and made like 100 copies of himself.
And then
and,
Spider-Man just
yeah.
comes in and just
Bops
pretty much
him.
He
webs
used
him.
some mathematics on him.
I heard when he said, you know, it's like more powerful than magic or whatever, and he said math. I heard one of my math teachers laughing in the back.
Oh no. Who was it?
Mr. Orvis.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Classic.
All right.
Will, what was your favorite fight scene?
None of them kind of jump out at me as like, wow, that was by far the best. I think on the whole they were all kind of on par with each other. I did
Yeah.
like the one-on-one with Green Goblin and Tom Holland,
Mhm.
but other than that, I can't really comment. I don't have a personal favorite.
So, cinematography. Josh, what do you think the best shot was?
Well, it's kind of hard to say since I feel like the cinematography wasn't really that good. We had a couple of wide shots, open shots, just close-up shots with the face, which is pretty much just like the basic movie kind of cinematography. But if I had to pick my favorite cinematography scene, it would have to be towards the end when they're fighting on the Statue of Liberty. I think all the weird angles and shots where they're flipping between different Spider-Man and different villains just gave it more of like a dynamic effect. But it wasn't too complex that you just had no idea what was happening in the fight. So
One shot that's great is when all three of the Spider-Man, they have to team up again and they go, all right, you're Peter 1, you're Peter 2, you're Peter 3. And then now they're more coordinated, they all jump off the Statue of Liberty all at the same time and they do some awesome flips.
And then
I'll play that scene right now just so you can see it.
And how they like web off each other. How like immediately after this kind of quick like pep talk, they're like swinging off each other and
Yeah.
stuff. It's pretty cool.
And then they do this massive superhero landing thing and it just looks great.
And then it goes into the fight scene, and they don't know how to really fight with each other. But then progressively later on, they
get better and
They get
better.
better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. How about you, Jamie? What do you think about cinematography?
So I thought, yeah, overall, nothing jumped out to me. It was a bit mediocre. It was more kind of form over function. They just tried to do a good story instead of focusing on the visuals and cinematography. But I think one thing that does jump out to me as being the best is Peter. He's crying after Aunt May's death, and he's sitting on the top of a skyscraper in New York, and he's watching J. Jonah Jameson on this news screen talking about the explosion, and he's like, J. Jonah's got his microphone and he's saying 5 people have died or something like that.
Yeah, and
then
saying how Spider-Man's a villain.
yeah, and then it pans out and you got this great shot of him just sitting down like with his mask off, and he's crying and he looks really upset and he's got blood in his face and stuff like that. It's really sad.
Yeah, and the aesthetic of it is amazing. It's like very kind of neon. So you've got kind of purple and blue neon lights with the rain,
Yeah.
which makes it awesome. So for me, one of my favourite shots, as well as the one that Jamie mentioned, is when he's swinging off to go and find Sandman and Electro. Like,
that is cool.
Yeah.
in the forest.
Yeah, in the forest where there's all the power cables and stuff, like how it's sunrise or sunset, I don't know which one, and like the kind of lighting and everything. I just think it looks amazing.
Yeah, speaking of that scene, let's jump on to music super quickly and do Electro in that scene. So Electro's introduction, of course, we see lightning first, and it's yellow this time, so we're like, what's going on? And then we see Electro just kind of spawn in.
Yeah,
And
he morphs in.
in the
He's
background.
he's got his comic look to him. He's got the Electro kind of star helmet on when he's zapping Spider-Man, and as soon as he zaps Spider-Man, that really awesome electro riff from Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was composed by Hans Zimmer, comes on. That was really good. The score is really great in that movie. I think that's from the Electro Suite, and that's a really good track. You should listen to it.
Definitely.
And it's got... I would have liked to see a bit more of that track, especially when Electro kind of like he's talking about the power of the arc reactor.
Yeah, if they just teased it.
They have the the voices in the song of the Electro Suite. They could play that, which kind of shows how
like almost like flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks to the first one.
I think Star Wars does this a lot. I make any reference to Star Wars that I can, but how with a character it kind of always teases at their kind of almost like their theme in the background in like
their leitmotif.
Yeah, so I think if they could implement that more with Electro, that would have been amazing, because it really is a good
It's
track.
Great track. And speaking of just music in general, they did introduce all of the villains' leitmotifs, and it was really good. So for Tobey Maguire, so Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and I think a tiny bit of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man himself, they had Danny Elfman's music, which was really good. The music is great in that trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
I'm quite disappointed though we didn't have the Black Suit Spider-Man song, which is... I'll play it. I'll play it right now.
Yeah, from all the memes and stuff.
Yeah,
that would have been great. But I agree with Jamie. They did have some good music in there.
And then for Amazing Spider-Man 1, from that movie, you have James Horner's theme, which was when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is chatting to Lizard, and then they have this really nice moment, and that music comes on and it swells and it's really nice. And then of course, the main attraction music-wise is Michael Giacchino's score. What do you think of it?
Josh?
Jamie.
Okay, back to me
Who's
then.
Michael Giacchino?
Well,
Dude,
Michael Giacchino is the composer of... He does a lot of Pixar movies, so he did The Incredibles, he did Up, so Married Life.
Wait. Which riff did he do for Spider-Man?
He did... so he's done the new Spider-Man Homecoming one, so it goes... I'll play it right now.
You don't need to hum it. Just
I'm not gonna hum it.
He also did the Rogue One music.
He did Rogue One, which was really good.
That was
the
great.
The Imperial Suite, that's a really good song.
Oh my gosh.
And I think the main attraction with the music is, I think, Arachno. It's like the last track in the album. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Music, and it's great. It's the song that plays when Tom Holland's Peter Parker, everyone's forgotten his identity, and he's had to say goodbye to MJ and Ned, and he's starting fresh again. What did you think about the final scene?
I thought it was just depressing, to be honest. Like, after such a kind of an awesome movie, like, wow, you got all the Spider-Man back and stuff, and then at the end, like, he's kind of been completed in some sense, how he's solved like this big puzzle he's had, but also he's had a massive loss with losing his best friend and Aunt May and MJ. And I think what really annoyed me, I wanted to kick like something, was when he went into the cafe and he saw MJ, and MJ looked like she was looking at him, and you were like, oh my gosh, like, and there's some kind of sort of recognition in her face. You thought, oh wow, like she still knows him.
You had some hope that she had remembered him.
And it was just Ned.
Yeah, it was Ned.
It was just Ned, and then I think all the audience just had this common urge, how, come on Tom, just tell them how you knew them, and what happened.
And then he just asked for a coffee.
Asked for a coffee and then left, which is just really sad.
It was sad, and it makes me wonder how they're gonna kind of develop the next films. Like, if he's got no kind of connections with like Ned being his man in the chair and MJ being a massive part of his story, like, are they gonna reintroduce them, or is he gonna just start like new?
Is Ned gonna be the evil villain, like he said?
Hobgoblin.
Yeah, how he said, oh, Peter.
I'll
if I ever become-
never turn about.
I'll never
Yeah.
turn evil.
Yeah.
If I do, don't kill me. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
Kid introduces him like that.
Well, it allows them to go into a lot of different directions. So they can do Black Cat, they can do Gwen Stacy, they can do Sable and Carnage and Mysterio. They can do him again. They can say he wasn't dead. They
I
can
think
do-
that'd be quite a cheap move though.
It's been done before a lot in Marvel. If you think about it.
That's true.
Loki's literally died like 5 times.
Yeah, but it's Loki. People, I think Mysterio was a bit of a kind of almost cop-out villain.
It was just like
Yeah, because
one and done.
I don't think they executed him that well.
Jake Gyllenhaal was great though.
Jake Gyllenhaal was a good actor in Far From Home, but I just don't think they had full potential of him.
No.
They can also use Shocker and Mr. Negative, I was going to say,
Yeah, and the Tinkerer.
and Kingpin. They did the Tinkerer in Homecoming.
Did they?
Yeah, he was part of the Vulture's gang. Speaking of the Vulture, they can bring him back.
And
Yeah,
Scorpion.
there's-
And Scorpion.
There's like infinite
So,
possibilities.
if you haven't seen it, I think there's either a post-credit scene or
In
a-
Homecoming, yeah.
in Homecoming, where the Vulture gets sent to prison, and he meets
This mysterious
Scorpion.
character,
Yeah.
which has a tattoo of a scorpion on his arm.
Oh, what
and
with
his enemies-
with like the coat or the suit or something?
I think he was in the jail cell with him.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's in a
And
jail
then,
cell.
and then he
yeah.
asked him, he's like, "Yo, I heard you know what the identity of Spider-Man is. Who is it?" And then he says, "Like, I don't know."
I don't know. I'm not going to tell you.
Which could mean we could have a bring back with the Vulture, and he'll be on Spider-Man's side because
Yeah, was there an end credit scene like that for the previous Spider-Man films?
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
in
so
a cell.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I've heard rumors or kind of theories that that's actually Kingpin, and the like visits him in his cell, and I think that kind of makes sense. And I think with the reintroduction of Matt Murdock, I think they're definitely gonna kind of hit it home with Kingpin or something coming back.
Yeah, they're definitely going to introduce Kingpin as a villain in the Echo show. So if you've seen Hawkeye, then you'll know that Echo is this new kind of anti-hero who was kind of a villain in season 1 of Hawkeye. And so she's going to be getting her own show, and Hawkeye ended with a conflict between Echo and and Kingpin. So we know that Kingpin's probably going to play a major role in Echo.
Yeah, I haven't actually finished Daredevil, so I don't know how that's gonna tie with.
Yeah, we don't know how Matt Murdock and Kingpin in the MCU is going to work.
Yeah.
Are they going to be rebooted characters? Are they going to be the same characters and have the same kind of experiences?
Yeah, as long
We'll
as
have
they
to wait and see.
as long as they keep Charlie Cox as Daredevil, that's all that matters to
And
me.
Vincent D'Onofrio is
Yeah,
Kingpin.
he was amazing.
and if you guys know anything, like put that in the comment too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you have any ideas about potential movies or what they could do with different
Any
characters,
theories?
let us know. Yeah. So overall, what are the final opinions of Spider-Man: No Way Home? Will?
So overall, I think it was a cracking movie. A little bit disappointing in some parts, a little bit slow in some parts, but overall, it was a great way to finish the trilogy. And with the reintroduction of the other Spider-Man and the villains, I think it was very poetic almost. So I think it was great.
And out of 10, what would you give it?
8.5.
8.5. Nice. Josh?
Overall, yeah, I liked it. I liked it more than the other two Spider-Man. I think it was just executed better. I think what also made it better was just the fact that there were more Spider-Man and more villains that just made it even just greater.
Stakes, yeah.
I'd say if I had to give it out of 10, it was definitely one of those Marvel movies that springs out. Compared to the other ones, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Cool.
Nice. And what about you, Jamie? Like, what are your final opinions?
Ooh, well, I really loved the action, the acting, the music was great. The plot did drag on, especially in the middle, and the trailers gave you a false idea of what the movie was going to be about. So, all in all, I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Solid.
It's a great movie. I would recommend it to people who have seen Spider-Man films, anyone who likes superheroes, Marvel fans, DC fans. It's for anyone really, but you gotta know what you're getting yourself into because it's a 3-hour movie. So,
And you might be bored, and so definitely check out the old Spider-Man movies. before watching it.
Yeah, that's really good in preparation. Watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Well, any excuse to watch Amazing Spider-Man, to be honest.
For you, well, yeah.
It would just make that experience a lot greater instead of sitting around not knowing what's happening for 3 hours.
It'll make it a lot more compelling.
So, does it get the Will seal of approval?
It definitely does.
And Josh, does it get the Joshua seal of approval?
This movie does get my seal of approval. How about you, Jamie?
I think it does get the Jamie seal of approval. You should definitely go watch this if you haven't. And yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a rockin' movie. Check it out, guys.
Well, that's Reid's Renegade. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Reid's Renegade Rebooted podcast, episode 2. Remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've got any ideas for future episodes, any opinions about Spider-Man No Way Home. And remember to follow us on our Instagram. Link is in the description. Go drop us a follow over there. And yeah, stay tuned.
Thanks for tuning in to Reid's Renegade Rebooted and listening to us, Jamie and Josh.
Reid's Renegade is a Reid's production. We are produced by James, Jamie, and Josh.
Sound designed by Jamie. Art direction by James. Marketing by Josh. Edited by Jamie.
With special thanks to today's guests, Sebastian, Justus, and Will. Thanks for tuning in to Reid's Renegade, and we'll see you soon. So we're back.
Yes! How's my voice here? Not bad.
We've got Electro, but
You asked me what was my
Wait,
favorite
wait,